What's up, Doc? Eric Bauza here, and I'm a guest on Taboo's Comics and Kicks, and I got the icy blues, brother. Woohoo!
Hola, amigos. Welcome to another edition of Taboo's Comics and Kicks. My guest, this man, first of all, the fact that he's Filipino. Big shout out to my brother Appity App, Filipino freaking icon, and I got another Filipino icon. There's not a lot of Filipino icons in mainstream pop culture that I can say have impacted the world the way this man, who is my guest today, has impacted the world. I'm not just talking about animation. I'm talking about storytelling. I'm talking about Emmy award-winning Filipino. I'm talking about sneakerhead, voiceover actor and creator. I'm talking about the one and only, my Canadian relative. Give it up for Eric Bauza.
Hey, what's up, Taboo? How's it going, Doc? Good to be here on Comics and Kicks, Doc.
Thank you.
Two of my favorite things.
I love it, man.
Well, this is my real voice now, so, that's all that Warner Brothers would allow me to do for free, and then everything else.
Everything else has a fee.
It'd be a little weird if you did the whole interview like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, bro, it'll be dope. But
it would be dope, but
it would be dope.
Now, if Daffy were here, you'd see he'd be useful because he could spit shine your shoes. That's the way to keep it clean, is to have Daffy.
So this man right here has been an inspiration. Just because I know the the pictures that you've sent me about you going to Six Flags. I don't know if it's Six Flags.
Those are the back in the day, and still up until now, they have the license to do DC and Warner Brothers characters. And it's funny when you go there, it's almost like the 90s is just trapped in time.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed in that park.
Speaking about the 90s, let's go back to Eric as a kid growing up, being loving sneaker culture, loving hip hop in Canada. Talk about that.
I know. And
what city in Canada?
Toronto.
T-Dot. Let's go. Yep.
T-Dot. So, we're pretty much like New York's weird cousin from the north.
Yes,
we got most of everything you guys had. And again, growing up in the 90s, that was like what a era of NBA,
dude,
every team had a personality, Barkley, Ewing, Robinson,
MJ.
Jordan, every team had their star. And then of course, when the dream team hit the Olympics for the first time, that was just like, it didn't seem fair.
Epic, dude.
And every sneaker to come out of that era was iconic,
What was your go-to sneaker at that time?
Man, oh man. Well, I had in high school, I was rocking the Damon Stoudemire Jason Kids, the Flights 97s.
The Flights,
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
I still have a pair. I still have the pair that I had from high school, but then of course they did the remakes and the reboots, different colorways.
Yeah.
But mine were the red, white, and blues,
That's awesome.
like the deep navy blue.
Because it was like I think a University of Arizona vibe to it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where he played college ball.
Yeah. And then the next year they released the pennies, which
Penny
was
Hardaway.
still the Zooms, but had the number 9 in gold on the back. And those, I haven't been able to find those. I don't think they ever re-released those.
Yeah. One of the things that I find interesting about you is you have taken on the mantle of one of the most iconic creatives, geniuses, Mel Blanc.
Yeah, he's like I call him the blueprint, the OG. He was the first performer to do voices for animation to be credited up until that point. And when we're talking about like the 30s and 40s, like who even thought of like fighting for screen credit over everything else? Like just to be recognized and to be taken seriously is kind of something cool to, in that era. Because at that point you were just like happy to be working, right?
Yeah.
But to have the idea, no, I want screen cred that says voice characterizations by Mel Blanc. And, that was even before residuals. And we're talking about shorts that were made 90 years ago.
Right.
Bugs Bunny's 85 years old,
Wow.
Doc. And I've always been prematurely gray.
Love it.
He's always been a gray hair. But But, they weren't even fighting for, thinking about residuals. I think that's why Mel Blanc started doing car commercials in the 80s because he's like, oh, people are getting paid now
for the
to be in
voice.
ads.
Yeah.
But back then it was like, here's your paycheck for like $20 or something. And then he would do these remarkable films that we're still celebrating.
So were you drawn to Looney Tunes as a kid, or was there another cartoon that really was like for me, I love Thundercats.
I first of all, take a look at this man's collection here. I walked in this room. I noticed the hats, and I need a hat rack this big for my hat collection. But immediately, insanely impressed by, first of all, classic WWF.
Yes.
I say WWF
Me
because
too.
that for
Same.
me that was
Same.
that was when it was popping.
Yeah.
But GI Joe still in the box.
Yeah.
Thundercats, of course. I'd say. Of all, like, Silverhawks, Thundercats, there was what else? He-Man, of course, but Thundercats was always dope. And, of course, Star Trek. I didn't know that you were, like into Star Trek,
Of course,
too, man.
dude. I mean, Mego Toys is a huge supporter. I love that time period, 70s, 80s, and 90s,
Yeah.
vintage collectibles.
Yeah.
Some of the pieces are a little newer, but, dude, I started with fandom as a kid, loving cartoons, animation, storytelling.
Dude, you got to collaborate with, like, have you heard of NECA?
I love NECA.
Dude,
Yeah.
I know all the sculptors.
Yeah.
And if you ever had, like, ideas or your
I
spin
do
on some
have
of these
an
characters.
idea. I'm going to show it to you right now.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Angryfoot. Angryfoot is my character that I've created.
Trevor Zammit, he's the guy who sculpted almost all of the TMNT, like the movie, like sculpts, the big ones. And then like pretty much everything Ninja Turtles Trevor has done. And I think some of the Gremlins as well.
Oh,
but
that's dope, dude.
I mean, I got to get you guys in a pitch room together.
Okay, so one of the questions that I had, being from Canada, do you have any connection to any First Nations people? Because I'm all about advocating for my Indigenous relatives.
Absolutely.
And here, I'm proud to be Mexican as well.
Yeah.
So we're always asking the connection between the solidarity in Canada with the First Nations people. Do you have any connections?
Well, actually, for the early part of my career, before I became a voiceover artist, I was actually working in animation, not behind the microphone, but behind a desk drawing. And I actually lived in the city of Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada. And
Six Nations?
Yeah, well, some of my roommates actually worked with like First Nation, Indigenous, Canadian Indigenous folks, and got to spend some time and get to know them and get to know like, what they were, fighting for, preservation of their culture.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got to know firsthand with folks, and it was, something that you don't get to see every day. And I think something that needs to be, even now injected and reminded by folks. 'Cause I feel like it's easy for distractions to take attention away from like what we really should be paying attention to.
Yeah, I'm glad you said.
Celebrating like cultures like across the board,
Yeah.
but especially First Nations.
Of course, I'm glad you said that, because first of all, I'm proud that you are representing a different culture in the animation space, let alone Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all the Looney Tunes. I mean, a Filipino kid from Canada representing, like, dude, that is powerful. To see us or hear us on television, and then to see how far you've come. Talk about that.
It's funny because, as a voiceover artist too, we've spent an entire lifetime really being anonymous and behind the character, right? You don't really see who is, voicing these characters. You don't really pay attention to it. You're more into the character itself. And, as of recent, authentic casting, authentic storytelling has kind of taken the forefront, which I'm all about, especially when it is a situation where you're kind of giving people a chance to tell a story or perform where they may not have had that chance before. In cases like Bugs Bunny, though, it's kind of funny because, like, I'm super proud to be who I am, represent the people that, are part of my heritage. But it's with characters like Bugs, I believe it shouldn't be barred by, how the color of your skin, what you look like, how tall you are, how short you are. It really comes down to, can you perform the voice?
Exactly.
But what I love is that when you do look at that history book, you're going to see 5 old white dudes, and then the kid from Up, Russell in the, in the history book. And honestly, if that inspires you, even if you're not Filipino, if you're just someone that is like shy to use your own voice, and if it's a story that inspires you, then I'm all for it.
That's dope, man. I'm glad that you said that because, like, I take my brother Apple coming from the Philippines in 1989, not knowing a word of English.
Right.
And being tossed into this dream of living the American dream, right? With rest in peace, Joe Ben Hudgens, his adoptive father. And the first person he meets is Will.i.am. And so their connection was like perfect strangers, cousin Belky, like,
yes. You got the North American, the American kid, and then the kid from a different land. Mipos.
He's from from Pampanga, which is a very
small provinces in the Philippines.
So that being said, the fact that he was able to dream big because of Will.i.am's leadership and his guidance, it allowed us as a group, as brothers, to continue chipping away at the idea of multiculturalism and how we can represent the mosaic that is Los Angeles around the world.
Yeah, your Black Eyed Peas is always visually, like, without even singing your first note, you're already, the look that you guys had and still have to this day is that of like, there's no one that looks like each other. Everyone's so different on the team. So it's very inspiring. And you get so many people, a cross section of your fans must come from all over the world.
Well, it is. It's international, and it's like what you do. You tap into all these different voices and characters, but at the end of the day, it's so global.
Oh yeah, no. I also do Woody Woodpecker, and of all places, he is known in Brazil, Pica-Pau. That's what they call him, right?
How many voices do you do?
Let's run through it, Doc. This is the part that goes viral. Bugs Bunny, what's up, Doc? Daffy Duck, woohoo, woohoo. Sometimes Porky Pig. Tweety Bird, I thought I saw a bunch of hats. I did see a bunch of hats.
Sylvester, I'm gonna eat that bird if it's the last thing I do. I say foghorn, leghorn. Pay attention, son. That's just like Looney Tunes. Then there's Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah.
I still don't get free tickets from Universal.
You still got to pay full price.
Of course.
Who else? Fozzie Bear from Muppet Babies. Waka waka. Why did the chicken cross the playground to get to the other slide? The list goes on. Really, it's
what's a voice that you do that you don't do on TV, but you can do very well?
Oh man. My favorite cartoon character is the guy that's, we gotta get these Canadians out of here. They're very polite, these Canadians. He's a very funny cartoon character. They might come after me. You never know. But, we're gonna send them back to Canada.
Yeah.
Fries and gravy.
Definitely
And poutine, I think or Putin they call it.
Non-political characters.
I know, I don't want to get political, but yeah, it's whatever is in front of me at the time. Sometimes you just don't know if you could do a character or like a voice match. So there was a movie for DreamWorks called Turbo, and in the film it was Ryan Reynolds, and then his brother was Paul Giamatti, and they brought that to Netflix. But of course, not a lot of celebrities of that caliber can be available, so they bring in voice matches. So I was auditioning for, they just said, can you try to do, and who even thinks of a Paul Giamatti impression? But I ended up booking Paul Giamatti. So, if you watch his movies, the way he talks, he kind of sounds like he's about to cry or he's holding in a fart or something.
Right. He does.
And, I will not drink Merlot. And that's the other one. Another voice match I do for DreamWorks is Puss in Boots, Antonio Banderas. And he approved this. So the way I approach that impression, though, is, of course, pay attention to the authenticity of where he's from.
Right.
Spain, through and through, like genuine, Spain. And it's not so much, and this is me growing up in a household with Filipino accents, right? It's not so much the accent as much as it is, I think about my parents. They try to sound not Filipino. So the way they pronounce things is different than anything I've ever heard. So it's like, when I visit my parents, my mom's like, Eric, we have to visit your grandmother at the cemetery. I'm like, the cemetery? She's like, that's what I said, the cemetery.
Yeah.
So it's like the way things sound funneled through another person's culture. But I've seen footage of Antonio Banderas performing Puss in Boots, and that guy is having the time of his life.
Yeah, of
There
course.
isn't a moment where he's not behind the microphone and he's either cracking the directors up or himself up.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, like, it's one of the most difficult voices to achieve because of how different it is. No one else could really do what he does.
Mm-hmm.
I had one good moment, though, at DreamWorks where I was supplying the voice temporarily before they got him in to do the final records, just to, as you know, in the process of filmmaking, it's like sometimes you just got to get the scenes approved, the writing approved, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You get someone in, even if he's not doing an accent or she's not doing an accent, because they had a Salma Hayek voice match too. And we were just there performing the scenes as if we were the characters just to get it approved. And I know the director, at some point, he said, I had to like look up to see who was in the booth because he was like, he was lost in the story. And I was the one going, look, Kitty Soft Boss, we have to get the golden goose. You know, like, we have to go that way. No, this way, that way. You know, the way he does his voice, it's like a roller coaster.
The inflections, huh?
You don't know when he's going to whisper or when he's going to yell really loud for some leche, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, I'm able to capture that essence. And, you know, hey, when Antonio is too busy,
You got his back.
Here's the thing. It's like, I always equate it to he's Santa and I'm Mall Santa, you know, whenever.
That's dope. That's a good metaphor, bro. That's a good.
You just made a
So
not
Eric
your
is
debut, but
Eric
with
is
your debut
also
with your
part of
daughter.
that. Eric is part of that as well. He's part of Dora.
That's right.
We both.
Your family.
I am family. I'm. See, yo soy Quickatu, and my daughter's Quickatina.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's great that they have both of you on the show. What's that like? That must be trippy.
Bro, I mean, first of all, the fact that we've been part of Nickelodeon for some time now. First with Quickatu, doing a couple episodes prior to my daughter coming aboard. And then, you know, when they approached me, I had submitted a song called Melodia, which became kind of like an anthem to be able to create a story around Dora making a song for Poppy.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, it would be cute if Quickatu had a daughter named Quickatina.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of like, you know, trying to inspire Dora's path to write a song. So my daughter, she went there. She took direction from the casting director. And
wow.
It was dope to see because my
you
daughter.
guys went to the studio.
We went to the studio. We recorded together. We did dialogue together. And she had never acted before, let alone voice acting, right?
And how old is she?
She's 9 now, dude. She
That's
was
my
8.
son. My son's 9.
Yeah, she was 8 when she did it.
Yeah.
And I said, Jet, do you want to do this? She's like, yeah, Dad, I want to do this. So, you know, fast forward to her doing her first interview with Billboard.
Wow. What?
Billboard. It's like
Billboard
going through the
magazine.
freaking pool
Yeah.
and swim in the deep end.
That's nuts.
And she
man.
did great, you know, and I was proud because working with my daughter, first I worked with my son on Spirit Rangers, which was on Netflix.
Yeah, Cree Summers on that.
Yes.
Another icon.
Yeah. Oh, man. Love her. Hopefully get her on the show too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we did Spirit Rangers, and then I got the opportunity to do Dora, which, what's your character?
Yeah, so they brought me on for an original character named Chompy. There was like a stretch of time in that year, this is just last year, where I was doing characters that only said like 2 words. So sometimes you go in, you have like a video game session, and it's literally a phone book of dialogue, and it's all yelling, and it's all these commands. And then like, you know, like World of Warcraft, whatever it is, it's like you're screaming. And then there's sessions like Dora where it's like, okay, you just have to say the word chomp chomp.
And that was
Chomp,
it?
chomp,
That's
chomp,
it?
chomp.
But it's like, okay, you're mad.
Chomp, chomp. You're happy. Chomp, chomp.
And you're just like, wait, how am I going to do this? Like your brain goes into a different mode when you have to only say 2 words.
I mean,
And
think
it's-
about Vin Diesel.
Oh my God,
Groot.
I'm Groot.
Groot.
Dude,
I'm
that guy
Groot,
made a gajillion dollars off of 3 words for how many years? Like,
Yeah. Shout out
hey.
to Anthony Francisco, Filipino brother, who actually designed the Groot
Yeah,
character.
oh no way.
Yeah, dude.
Filipino roots.
Yeah. So that being said about family, like I always like your story about how your connection with your family, but also you as an inspiration to the youth to aspire to love your craft, but also like to continue to be competitive out in the world. You know, I feel like once you get complacent, you're like, oh, I made it.
Oh my gosh, that's it. That's a dangerous place to be because you worked hard to get anywhere, right? Any level that you in your career, in your life, there's moments where you can plateau and feel comfortable, and some people do. Some people are happy to be a gear in the machine that makes the whole thing run. But then there are people that, you know, can get bored and what else can I do? And I think that's like a lot of us here in the room where it's like, well, how else can you level up?
Yeah.
And how else can you help other people too? You know, because I didn't get here by myself. And I know that, you know, like it takes a village, and it takes, I think I attribute my career 1,000% to the kindness of strangers. Some people that I've never, like, they don't have to like, you know, you didn't have to call me in here. No one had to like wait, but here we are chatting, and it's like, this is amazing.
Well, the interview's over. We didn't tell you.
Oh yeah. No.
Well, you know what's dope? What's dope is that Eric, you were gracious enough to be here with us. This show is about honoring and celebrating the idea of comic books, toys or collectibles, and sneaker games.
I'm
we're
on
all
the eve of Comic-Con, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, like, for you, what comes first? Toys, comics, or kicks?
Oh my gosh, man. I don't know. I mean, in that order, toys, I'd have to say, for whatever reason, like I was thinking about that today. I was like, I got too much crap in my house. Like I have an entire studio, and you know, some of it is stuff like this from your youth, the stuff that you wish you could have had when you were a kid, but your parents you can only pick one.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's like the worst because you know, now that you actually made a living for yourself, and you're like, oh my God.
You know what's interesting that we've heard this a lot, Tab, is it, and we all grew up in the generation where our parents genuinely couldn't afford to get us anything.
Yeah.
And maybe because we are more successful than our parents were to an extent. When our kids were younger, we could give them more. But it seems to be a very common story because we talk about our Jordans. Like I didn't get, I was definitely alive, saw the Jordan 1s come 2s, 3s.
You saw them come and go.
But I didn't get them until the 6s. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was my first pair. And even then, it was like as soon as I got home from school, my mom, take them off.
But yeah.
Put them aside.
Really?
Those are not the outside shoes.
That is
those
like
are
a
your
special
school
occasion
shoes.
shoe.
Yeah.
But it's crazy though to think that, you know, like those were the good times compared to like, you know.
You know why it was the good times? Because the things that should mattered. Right. Family, your parents,
you had
love.
To work towards.
Yeah.
You know?
We had relationships with our grandmothers and our grandfathers and our siblings, and we communicated, and we had family dinners. And now everybody wants to sit on their phone and eat separate. And,
well, think about it, E. We came up on the time period where there was no resale. There was no Instagram where you can look at the hype beast of sneaker culture or collectibles.
It was
the fear of missing out. It's like you saw.
You appreciated things in a different way back then because there was no second chance. It was like, you know, once it's gone, it's gone. And you were okay with it. You know, you could let things go.
And it wasn't as like the variety of sneaker culture. I'm going to talk about that now because I know you brought a little gift.
Absolutely,
Sneaker culture in the 90s, there wasn't a lot like how it is now where there's like Adidas and Yeezy and Nike and this Reebok and all these different, I would say algorithms of conversation with sneaker culture.
Oh yeah. No, collaborations
all
and
that, dude.
all that stuff.
The customization.
Yes.
That's a new thing, you know. Talk about this beautiful gift that you have, or not gift, but the blessing of
Well, this is something that I wore recently. Now, these are
a very special of selection, Doc, of Jordans.
And these were the Jordan Retro 7s. I believe these are the ones that were in the commercial with Jordan, like the very first commercial. Air Jordan and Hare Jordan. So
I remember the Hare
before
Jordan.
Space Jam, there was
the original Space Jam.
Before the original Space Jam, there were two Super Bowl commercials that came out by Nike and ad company in New York that featured the very first time you see Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan team up.
Yeah.
So it was Air and Hare Jordan, and that was a commercial where Bugs Bunny is bullied by a bunch of jocks in a gym, and then who else but Michael Jordan comes to save him.
Save the day.
And then the second commercial, another Super Bowl ad 2 years later, so 1992, 1994 was Aerospace Jordan.
which had Bugs Bunny.
Michael Jordan and Marvin the Martian.
Yes.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah.
Marvin
I will
the
have
Martian.
all the Air Jordans on Earth. Yeah, he was always after the Air Jordans. And then 2 years later is when Space Jam came out. But I recently got to perform at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, that was dope. You were rocking the Viking
I had
hat.
the magic helmet, which is a
Yes.
half Elmer Viking helmet
Yeah.
and half Bugs Bunny.
That was dope.
with the wing, and I had these on, and I had never worn them. But the funny thing about these ones, and of course, here's the, still got the wrapping. They still have the classic Jordan, the pattern,
The pattern on the bottom, yeah.
the wrapping. But these actually they're made out of like fur.
Oh, that's dope.
Like
dude.
I think it's faux. It's got to be faux fur, but
see it?
yeah, of course. Again, only wore them on stage.
That's
So
fire.
wait, so the story behind the shoes, is this a re-release or this is the original pairs?
This is a re-release with
Okay.
like literal like rabbit, like synthetic
we were talking
rabbit
about the sixes
fur.
earlier.
Yeah, these are. I think these are the sevens.
Oh, those sevens, okay.
And the sixes, I think, just before these came out, were a different shoe. I think these were also the ones, either the sevens. I think it was the sevens that Michael Keaton wore on the set of Batman.
Six.
The sixes.
The
Yeah, the
sixes.
For
sixes.
Batman 1.
Yeah,
Tim
the
Burton.
89,
Yes.
right?
It was like a version of like the infrareds, weren't they?
I think so. And they literally,
Right,
he's
Tab?
like,
They were black sixes. And
Okay.
then they had the big black like
They extended
like
it.
the
Cover
cover
up,
up.
yeah, they
Yeah.
Dude, they should release
That'll
the
be
extensions.
dope,
If they
dude. That'll
had,
be so dope. I
you
love
walk
that.
around.
People like Tab and I run
But,
around the
yeah.
but
city
you
with them.
guys are like cool, and I wouldn't be able to rock
Well,
those.
you know what, E, is the dope thing about that is because it came from the Batman movie, it's almost as exciting and brings that fandom as the mags when Marty McFly had the
Oh my god!
self-laced stuff.
Do we finally have those on the shelf? Like
we do
you can
have the
actually
mags,
buy them.
but they're like $70,000 because of the
What?
auction, the Michael J. Fox auction.
oh, okay, the real ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, like they never came out retail. Like you
They
couldn't buy
did,
them.
but they went
Super limited.
Super limited, dude.
Holy crap! They look like a ski boot. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't even like. They didn't even look like you could move.
And the
in
only
them.
reason, like he said, it was the culture of the film that made people want them.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
if somebody just invented them and came out, they
wouldn't be.
It would have
anything.
flopped.
It was the idea. I mean, you were
self-lacing.
sitting in that theater going,
Yeah.
"I need those."
Yeah.
You know, like
And the hoverboard.
Shout out-
exactly.
Shout out to Tinker Hatfield for the design. You know, he got with Michael J. Fox and created their design. And the fact that Michael J. Fox was able to do an auction to auction off, the mags was dope.
Yeah.
And it's dope when you're able to have storytelling through design
Of course.
and the idea of bringing people together in all these worlds. And I think that's why it's important for us to continue championing the idea of, sneaker culture.
Absolutely. It at the end of the day, at this point, yeah, it's remembering the good times, as we just said,
Yeah.
and like a story to tell. And it just so happens that I happen to be super all like I always say I would have these silly shirts even if I didn't do the character voices. But the fact that I'm it's so attached to them at this point, I don't mind the storytelling aspect of it all, because if it's something that makes you happy, or if it's something that like can propel you creatively, then I'm all for that.
That's dope, man.
So because I think it's a good segue. You talk about Space Jam. You
That's
weren't
right, Space Jam.
you weren't a part of the original, but you're a part of the.
I was part
Is it a
of
remake or
the-
what do we
whatever
call
you want to call
Remake?
it, the reimagining, the Space Jam: A New Legacy, starring LeBron James.
So, what is it like growing up watching the original Space Jam?
Oh my gosh!
Us all wanting to be a part of that one, right? Whether you're a Monstar or
heck
whatever
yeah.
you want to be.
Yeah.
And then all these years later, what is it like being that? How did you become this character of Bugs for the film? Like, kind of paint the picture how that came together and what it means to you and part of your legacy as a
Before
first.
you answer, can we talk about our IC?
Oh yeah. No,
11s
let's
first?
just we could kid and play.
Yep.
The,
IC 11s. They're not the
this is-
Concords.
No,
they're
no,
not they're not the Space Jams. We got the ICs on.
But how crazy is this though? This was not planned.
Great minds think alike.
I actually was leaving the house with the Concord, like the black and white ones, and then I was like, no, I gotta wear the
gotta
new
switch
ones.
up my
I gotta
sneakers.
sport the new ones. And then
I mean,
sure
at this
enough,
point, we just got to get Jordan to give us shoes.
I know.
Well,
come on,
every
man.
time. Reggie Saunders?
Come on, man.
Somebody,
on,
Jordan,
bro.
But
Cliff
let's
King,
just
somebody
credit
got
Tab for like finishing the outfit. I was lazy. I wore like I go, what's gonna make me look thinner? Okay, all black.
All good.
I'll come dressed as a rabbi. Yeah, dude. Being a part of Space Jam, And to be honest, the first one has always been seen as an anomaly of a success just because of how insane, just the concept was. And Bill Murray was in it and, produced by Ivan Reitman, directed by Joe Pytka, who was the same guy that directed the 2 commercials. And, when you pump this episode out, be sure to put links to those commercials because they're pretty awesome, man. They were animated and shot so beautifully. Totally reeks of the 90s, and again, it was just an era that like still had cell animation. Yeah. I actually own animation cells from those commercials. Oh, you do? I do.
Wow.
And if I get to,
you didn't bring any to gift.
If I get to come back, I was going to say,
oh, bro,
if I come back,
that's a bribe, Taboo.
That is a bribe.
Look,
I like that.
I mean, there's my boss up there. So,
LeBron.
LeBoss, I call him.
LeBoss
James.
Yeah.
Who I did get to work with because we did record before the pandemic, and I'm pretty sure he knew I was from Toronto because I was like, "Hey man, thanks for sweeping us 2 years in a row." The Raptors, I'm not over that. But
so you had a couple scenes with him or just voiceover stuff with him.
So I was first brought onto the film as doing scratch dialogue, and if for those of you who aren't in the industry who don't know, again, that's when you're an actor, that's like until we can get. Chris Pratt, we're going to use your voice temporarily. And that's what I thought. I was like, wow, this is going to be the first time we're going to hear Looney Tunes voiced by celebrities. But that was not the case. So I was brought in to do temporary voices of all the characters just so LeBron had someone to act with. So we were on the lot in the same room, probably no bigger than this, just literally side by side acting. And I was feeding him the ball, Doc. Here you go. Pass me the rock, and doing all these lines. Give the ball to LeBron, Rabbit. What are you waiting for? All of these scenes. And he's just like totally like clutch, just as you would imagine him on the court behind the mic. But his whole entourage, all the people that were with him, they're just freaking out. They're like, dude, this little kid is Bugs Bunny, when it came down to casting, although I was cast as Bugs that year for the Looney Tunes shorts outside the movie, the honor actually went to Jeff Bergman, who was one of the first guys back in '89 to voice Bugs. So in Space Jam, I voiced Daffy Duck, Marvin the Martian, Elmer Fudd, be very, very quiet, I'm hunting rabbit. Who else was there? Geez, there's 2 more. I say a foghorn leghorn. Eric, the lights are on, but no one's home. Yep. And last but not least, Porky Pig, who had a rap scene in the movie.
Oh.
And Daffy was when people hear the name Daffy, all they're thinking is duck. When they hear algae, all they're thinking is yuck. I got LeBron and Bugs, so who should I fear? The best tune squad in over 25 years? You want to be king of the web? Well, that's neat. Here you go. You can start by massaging my web feet. Woohoo, woohoo! So,
wow,
I was doing dropping bars, And then the funny thing about Porky was that he stutters, but when he raps, he does not stutter.
Yeah, that's dope.
And it was all done to Flavor in Your Air, Craig Mack.
Nice.
That
Easy
beat.
Mo B, that was the track masters.
But it was really funny because that scene was actually cut out of the movie because no one could do the rap, and then they asked me.
And you did.
You go, oh yeah, every Filipino thinks they could rap from Scarborough.
Yeah. So that segue into that idea of like Space Jam, I also heard that you are the second Canadian voice actor to win an Emmy in the history of
what?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You're the second.
I mean, there's only one other.
There's only one other
Really?
person that's won the Emmy for voice acting from Canada. Yeah,
I did not know that was a fact at all.
Bro,
That's
I do my homework.
You learned something new on the Comics and Kicks podcast.
Welcome to Taboo's Comics and
I just
Kicks.
got smarter. Actually, it's funny. I've won now 3 in a row for the same characters.
Yeah.
But come on, I mean, for me, like, working is it sounds cliche, but working is the reward. Because honestly, on my drive over here, I was like, what planet is this where I get to hang out with Tab and talk about, the things that we love? But
Same.
But we are the lucky people, the lucky few that get to keep working, even in entertainment now. to say that you're working nowadays is kind of a rare thing.
It is, man, and it's a blessing to be able to bring great medicine, good medicine, as we call it, through music, through art, through expression, especially in this time that we're going through craziness all over the world.
Yeah.
Talk about like the move from Canada to the U.S. Like, what was that like for you?
I mean, it's tough because you give up family. You know, you spend time with your family, and the only hope that you can do is to make them proud, right? You kind of leave home, but also it motivates you to succeed.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just going to come home and be like, hey, how's it going? Classic Filipinos, you can move back in home any day of the week, any age. But, I'm glad that it all worked out in the end and paid off because, showing my parents footage of me at the Hollywood Bowl, they're
That's
like, oh my
dope.
gosh, they couldn't believe it. So, yeah, at the end of the day, family will always be number one, no matter where you are. You're working for the family. And now that I have a son too, it's like you have that much more to work for his future.
What part of the Philippines is your family from?
There's a small province called Navotas. That's where my dad's from.
Okay.
And I'm sure my mom as well. But it's they left in the 60s to go to Canada. Why would they leave a third world tropical country to shovel
Canada.
snow?
Yeah,
It's
right.
beyond me. But
Paradise to snow.
yeah.
What does your son think of all of this? Because I mean, I
He's
could
like,
imagine, right?
yeah.
Tab as like a
dope.
kid, you're like, well, maybe that's the '80s in us, right? Watching Looney Tunes and hearing Bugs and Porky Pig, and then realizing, oh, that's my freaking dad.
Well, he's kind of like a little pimp at the schoolyard. I'm like on my phone at the park bench. He's like, "Hey, Dad, come over here," and he's like, "Do the voice, like, what's up, Dad?" and then he's like, "Okay, go away," and I'm like, "All right, thanks, man.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah,
We're done with you.
It's like, thanks, man. You want me to cut the crust off your peanut butter sandwich? Yeah, it's funny. He realizes exactly like when we're watching. This is the funny thing. When we're watching Looney Tunes shorts, he'll go, "Oh, so this is the ones that you're in." But then he'll watch the old ones and go, "Oh, these are the vintage ones." But then he goes, from the 80s. And I'm like, well, I mean, these are from the 40s. But he thinks the beginning of time was 1980 and then onward,
Right.
like.
But you know what's interesting, Tab? I was having this conversation with my older daughter, and I think because maybe this is how our parents thought, but I was having a conversation with her about like time. And we're in 2025. And if you go back to just 2000, that's 25 years ago. But in 1990, that was 1975.
Right.
And you're going, that lineage makes sense. I mean, sorry, 1965, right? That lineage makes sense. You're like, wow, the 60s in 1990, you're like, the hell was going on then? Was there people yet? But 2025 to 2000 doesn't seem like that far off.
No.
Because we're like, oh, that was Nelly was out with Hot in Here. And you know what I mean? We're like,
Well,
that was yesterday.
We're celebrating our 30-year anniversary as Black Eyed Peas. We
Nice.
started in 1995.
Dude, see, you're from that era, man.
Yeah,
like
dude,
you're popping things off.
We started in 95, and we got signed in 97 to Interscope. We came out with our first album in 98. 99, we came out with our second album, 2000. And then the record that put us on the map was Elephant with Where's the Love and Let's Get It Started.
Yes.
And Hey Mama and those songs.
Couldn't miss on that album.
Huge.
You guys did
Bro,
miss.
and that,
Huge.
honestly, that was the introduction to the global impact that we were to embark on.
Yeah.
And, it was like the testament to our brotherhood. Fergie was introduced in that space. Before that, we had Kim Hill, who was part of our first two albums.
She just followed the comics page on Instagram.
Kim Hill. Shout out to Kim Hill. Shout out to
love that.
Fergie, Macy Gray, Estero, all the women that have been part of our journey. But, like who in your household was the person that inspired you to go after your dream?
Oh man, well, there's a mix. Like almost everyone in my actual core family, my brother, my mom, my dad, can all they're creative. My mom was a hairstylist, so she used to sculpt. I actually never had a haircut from anyone else but my mom until I moved here. And then I've had a busted fade ever since. But I'm like, let's wear a hat. I'm just gonna grab one of these hats.
Get one of that.
My dad used to draw, but he loves movies, he loves Westerns. He would let us watch scary movies. I have memories of being in the theater with my dad as a kid growing up. And my brother like taught me how to draw and stuff like that.
That's dope.
But my uncle, who's no longer with us, he passed away like 3 years ago. He was the guy, like my mom's oldest brother, that moved to the United States first and would always send me letters, like, you know, from LA to Toronto when I was like in the 8th grade all the way through high school, and would say, "You're going to live here and work in animation." Mm-hmm. Like he would predict that all the time. And sure enough, you know, if it wasn't for him, I did an internship out here, like 3rd year of college. I wouldn't be able to afford living out here because I wasn't getting paid in school. Yeah. So being able to be with family out here was the real stepping stone. And then through that, making the network and connections that I have now. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be talking to you.
Wow. So on that note, family.
Hang on, no.
Family.
I've been staring at this bag right here.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Okay. I was going to go into my family thing.
Okay.
Family usually comes with gifts.
Yes, and that is why I was late. So
here you go.
If you're talking to a Filipino guest,
I'm sitting here going, "Hey, listen, I know we were trying to wrap up. We got a long day, but I'm like, this Warner Brothers studio.
There's something here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
can I have the bag when you're done with it? It's probably worth something."
So you came with your gift. I got a gift for you.
Oh my God, this is insane. I've never been on a podcast where I arrived late and still got a gift.
Well, this is Taboo's Comics and Kicks, and we come with.
Oh my gosh! You guys got your own swag.
Yep, we got our own swag. No,
not we. Taboo has his own swag.
Yeah, so this is the comic that I wrote with Marvel.
This is it. This is Spirit Rider.
Yeah, so this is one of the variants with Jeffrey Veregi, who was an amazing Native American artist at Marvel who passed away.
Oh my gosh! This is one of his covers right here.
Yeah. So I wanted you to have that.
Dude, this is insane.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you, brother. And then this shirt right here, we just put out a single called East LA, advocating for our immigrant relatives from Los Angeles. And the shirt represents what I wore in the video. And it says, "No one is illegal on stolen land."
Oh, heck yeah. That is a big message right there, man. That I feel like I would be proud to represent for you, man.
Yes, sir.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, while Tab's opening his bag, I want to get your top 5 animated voices of all time. Not ones that you have to do, but just ones that you're a big fan of. Your top 5 all time. I'm
going to say Don Adams, Inspector Gadget.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you can do the voices too, feel free.
Of course. Go Gadget. Go Gadget. Taboo. Look at this.
Look at this. Got my kids.
I never thought in a million years that I'd ever see this, Doc. Black-eyed peas with Bugs Bunny.
You know, for anything that Frank Welker does, he was Megatron. He was.
Can you do Megatron?
You know, Starscream, you idiot. That's all I know is like,
Megatron, we have to get Optimus Prime.
That's classic.
Listen here, Starscream. He used to do this thing where he would split his voice. He was also Dr. Claw.
Yes.
Oh, which is weird because this voice that he did as Dr. Claw, they would synthesize that and that would be Soundwave.
Wow, right here.
You have Soundwave right here.
Yep.
Yeah, so the Dr. Claw voice is Soundwave, but they synthesize it to sound like a robot. So that's 2. I mean, Don Messick, he was Papa Smurf. He was also Dr. Benton Quest from Johnny Quest. These are all like old school Hanna-Barbera people.
What was Papa Smurf?
It was like pitched up, but it was like,
don't go into the forest. Gargamel is out there.
Right. You know, they just had these classic voices. And June Foray, we gotta throw some ladies in there. She was like the first lady of voiceover. Rocky from Rocky and Bullwinkle, and Granny on Looney Tunes.
That's so.
And of course, Mel Blanc. At the end of the day, if you're gonna wrap it up, we gotta wrap it up with number 1.
And on that note, we could say, that's all, folks.
I love that.
On that note, I want to thank my special guest, Eric Bauza, my brother from another mother.
Yeah, man.
My Canadian relative, Filipino represent. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being here with us.
You don't get to see this every day. That logo, Marvel, that right there, like
big deal.
Yep.
Makes this a lot more official than it already is. So thank you for these gifts.
Thank you, brother. You got to sign my bugs for me.
Oh, that's right. You gotta sound my spirit right.
I got you, brother.
Forget
Thank
all
you.
that. How do I take you home from my daughter? She can just do voices all day.
Let's go.
That's right, y'all. It's Taboo Nawasha, and I hope you enjoyed geeking out with me and going straight into geek mode. For more information, for more videos, subscribe, like, and comment. Share it with your friends. Much love. There it is.
Comics and kicks.